All right, welcome back to the We Rock podcast. This is episode 8.1.
Yeah, definitely. Welcome back. And if you listen to the first one,
yeah, there's no
we're
way
sorry.
You got more than
we're sorry.
There's no way you got more than 10 minutes through it because I didn't get through it 10 minutes. We've gotten the messages over the since we started this about audio quality. That one definitely took the cake. I think there's several times I'm listening to it, that I go back and try not to be the narcissist, but I'm the narcissist and I want to hear how I sound just to make sure that I know that I'm actually audible. I go, what did I say? Couldn't hear anything. So, if you were one of the few that got to hear that one, congratulations. It's gone. We deleted it, moved on, and we're going to redo it now. Actually, the topics are basically the same. Nothing has changed to make it more exciting. It's just a different day.
It's just the new and improved version.
It's new and improved, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So,
new formula, same great taste.
Yeah. Hey, and this time, we've got a special guest. That special guest is none other than Wes, who is there. I can't see him. So for those of y'all who are listening. I can see Austin on the camera. He can see me. Wes doesn't exist. He's like he's hiding in the bush behind us somewhere.
Very sneaky. Yeah. Well, go ahead and introduce yourself, Wes. Say hi to the tens of fans out there.
This is going to boost our rating. We're going to have 11.
I am one of the employees for Austin Stone and Monument. Basically, I do mostly upfront stuff, and I work a little bit in the back when I can. I've been with Austin for about 2 years now, just over 2 years. So I'm still pretty fresh, new, and learning. That's basically it about me. I born and raised up here in Wichita Falls area, left for a few years, and then moved back home in 21 and got started with Austin.
There you go. I didn't know that you left. Is this when you left for the Marines or is this when you just left?
Yeah, so I left at 17 for the Marine Corps, spent 4 years in the Marine Corps out in 29 Palms, and then moved up to Boise, Idaho, where I lived for about 8 years.
Now, was it the Palms or was it Boise, Idaho, where you got your affiliate, your taste for crayons?
That would have been the Palms. But yeah, so that's why I was gone for about 10, 11 years.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you for your service.
Well, I appreciate it.
So, and thanks for coming on.
Oh, absolutely.
Really, we've got one agenda for you being on, but you're hanging out anyways. Right. So, and you can go ahead and make that announcement now if you want. I mean, you get to be commissioner or something.
Yeah. I don't know if I talked to a few people while we were down at the Woodlands. I had an idea of doing.
What happened in the Woodlands?
Wait, what was it? What was in the Woodlands?
The Woodlands?
Yeah, what happened in the Woodlands?
At the convention.
Oh, there was a convention.
The convention. There was a convention in the Woodlands.
There was a Woodlands convention.
Oh man, man, I hate that I missed out.
I wish I was there. I spoke to a few people down there, a couple different folks. I'd been interested in starting a shop versus shop Southern Monument Builders Fantasy League for football. And of course, it's not going to be exclusive to Southern Monument Builders, but I needed a name for it, so that seemed to be the most appropriate.
Well, hey, that's okay because the Southern Monument Builders is not actually exclusive to the South either. I mean, for that matter.
Yeah,
it is an open convention. All are welcome.
And this will be pretty much an open fantasy league. A few people expressed interest in joining, so I figured I'd come on, talk to you guys about it, and I know that it's going to be a lot of fun either way. If there's
what platform are you going to run it through?
I was thinking about running it through the ESPN Fantasy League. Okay. We already have, because we've been doing for the past couple years here just at the shop, doing fantasy football and baseball.
Thinking about dipping our toes into some fantasy WNBA.
Yes.
So. But if we do that, if you win, you are the loser.
Ooh. Yeah, that would be true. What if you just randomly pick and you don't know what's going on and you happen to win?
See, I would have to do an auto draft on that because I have no idea.
I know Brittany Griner.
That's the one I know.
That's all I know. So on I'm so used to we use the Yahoo one when we do ours here. But are you going to do defense on it as well, or is it just going to be offense?
There'll be a defense option where you just select the whole team's defense. Okay. It's kind of basically I'm just going to run it the way we ran it here last year for Austin Stone and Monument, where pretty basic.
Yeah, the
stuff.
one that we do here, we actually pick a couple of defensive players along with the full defensive team. It gets rather interesting because some of that stuff starts really messing with your stuff. You don't want you never end up wanting to pick a defensive end who's playing against your quarterback.
Right.
So you're like fighting your numbers, and it becomes an issue.
Yeah. Now, so I guess what we plan to do with that is we'll put the information out on the We Rock page, and of course we'll also share it to the Monument Builders Forum, and anybody and everybody that's wanting to join. Of course, this isn't going to be done on an individual basis. This is going to be, like Wes said, this is going to be shop versus shop. It could even be like if you're a wholesaler, and we can wrap it up as many ways as we can that way, but just be looking for
the only thing that I ask is if we're going to do this, especially if it gets big, right? You get enough people in there. I think we need a trophy. It can be whatever.
If only any of us had the capability of being able to make said trophy.
Yeah. But we also need a trophy for the loser, and the trophy for the loser would be something like a really pink shirt, hopefully with like a tutu on it or something like that we can send out to whoever it is.
Or no, we can do that, and then we can also bottle it in with they get an invitation to like the next SMBA convention, and you have to make a speech.
Yeah, I'm really bad at picking people to play fantasy football. Is that what the speech is?
Yeah.
They're going to have to stand up on stage and sing "I've Got a Lovely Bunch of Coconuts." What's funny is that joke's actually multi-generational. Because the original song is actually from Monty Python, not from Lion King. So, but no, I think that's going to be fun. I think we'll have a good time with that. I'll join. I'm going to be having to maintain a couple of leagues, and that's going to be a little.
Yeah, same here.
I think I'll be up to 3.
Oof, no. I think I'll be okay with 2, and that's going to be the extent of it. I'm going to pick opposite teams. That way, maybe one of them I'll do well.
Just spread it out.
But we do have we do have a little bit of sad news that I want to bring up and talk about. So not everybody knows who this gentleman is, but we learned that this just a couple of days ago, the passing of David and Linda Quiring of Quiring Monuments up there in Seattle, Washington. And David's been a great guy for a long time, and just a really good-hearted guy. He was always helpful. They posted, Quiring Monuments posted on their Facebook page about it, and he had what they said was, it's with heavy hearts that we mourn the ultimate passing of Linda and David Quiring. And it says, I don't know if you know that, for those of y'all who don't know, he was battling dementia. But a little bit on David was that he was a second-generation owner of Quiring Monuments from 1969 when he took over from his father until 2016 when he retired and sold the company to his son-in-law and daughter, which is John Reese and Kathy Quiring Reese, current third-generation owners. David and Linda were married just shy of 48 years, were well known and loved by many in the industry. David was among only a handful of individuals who was named a fellow by the American Institute for Commemorative Art, of which Quiring has been a member since the early 70s. And then it goes on to say, please pray for our family as we travel the journeys down the road and all that. So keep them in your thoughts and prayers. The Quirings have been great people, and I've had a much closer relationship with John Reese, who's his son-in-law over the years. Just mainly because John's a fan of Washington State University, and we tend to end up in bowl games or different things against each other, and so harass each other every once in a while. But no, they're such a good family. I could see John and Kathy at different AICA conventions, and they'll show up to NBA every once in a while and things like that. They're really good people, and I hate that for them. They're but at least for David and Linda, they're not having to battle the dementia stuff any longer, and they've moved on to other things, bigger and better places. So, wish the family, all the best, and we'll pray for them, keep them in our thoughts and prayers as we go on. So, just wanted to bring that up. No, it's not the exciting news or exciting stuff, as we tend to keep things lighthearted, but with somebody like that, and I hate to pass it up. I mean, the Quarrings have done some pretty cool stuff over the years. I know I can't remember if they did Bruce Lee's monument, but I know they did Brandon's, which is next to it, and those are pretty popular that you've seen. I'm pretty sure they worked on Jimi Hendrix monument to some extent.
Okay,
but, man, they've got so many awards for design when it comes to flat markers, because that's kind of the market up there. And they do a really cool etching process that they use on stuff, not laser etching, but they do sandblast etching that looks like laser. And man, their artwork is second to none. It's phenomenal. So best wishes to them out there as far as stuff going on, and we'll be praying for y'all, John and Kathy, as y'all move forward, as well as the rest of the acquiring family and acquiring work family, as they refer to them up there.
Right.
So know that y'all aren't alone. But no, I mean, so kind of into some other stuff. It's kind of what we're talking about today is the heat, right? I mean, it's hot outside.
Very hot. It's we get a little bit of a reprieve today. It's only going to be 103.
Oh man. Well, let's see. Right now it's saying 88 as of right now. The high is expected to be 102. But I think what is today's Thursday? Tuesday I got home to do I've got a full gym set up in my garage that I work out on, and the garage is insulated, but I don't have air conditioner. And when I pulled up to the garage, it was 105 degrees on the dash. And I'm like, oh, this is going to suck. And it did.
Hey, well, at least you don't have to work out too long to build up a sweat to make it look like you have been working out.
I just got to get out of the truck.
Yeah. Just walk into the house in your workout clothes, and your wife will be like, oh, man, he's been working out.
Well, I don't even know that at this point in time I've got to really worry about getting out in the sun to get a tan. I think if I just took my shirt off and sat in the leather on my truck seat, I think that would actually scald my skin enough that I would get a tan, don't you think?
Your seat would get a new layer of leather.
Yeah, we're just going to add to it. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know if you've ever been. I don't know if you've got a acetylene torch, or you've ever caught some of that just hot slag on just the exposed skin somewhere.
Oh yeah,
and you smell it. I smelled it. I smelled that same smell yesterday when I got into the truck, and I hadn't really been messing with anything. I just assumed it was the leather or the seatbelt clasp. But no, so we joke about it, but it's important because, like, Wes, I don't know if you're familiar, but it's we've got it's hot outside, and I know you've got an office job now, and you just tend to work inside all the time in the air conditioning. But
only when I can.
No. But no, we had in all seriousness, you got to be careful about. We've had two guys. We had two guys last week with heat exhaustion. Thankfully, it wasn't heat stroke, but it's rough. So we've got before they both went down, we purchased some Frog Tog cooling cloths or whatever they are.
Oh yeah.
And I don't remember. I think
kind of looks like a chamois.
How much did you pay for those cloths? So she found them online for like $13 a pop, and it's a chamois. And what we've done is each guy has two of them, and we stick one in the fridge, damp, so that at least when you pull it out, it's already cold. and they'll work with one all day and then swap them out. I have them, wash them out so they don't get all the nasty salt and stuff like that left in it and sweat. So, but and then it's already prepped for the next day. But no, they've whatever I can do to keep those guys cool and stuff like that. I tell them come in out of the heat and drink plenty of fluids. We keep the fridge full of not only waters and Gatorades, but I don't know if you we keep ice pops and pickle pops in our fridge, which those pickle pops are full of the electrolytes and stuff like that as well.
We keep pickles in our fridge.
Just pickles.
Just pickles.
Just pickles. Wes makes them.
I make them
They're
homemade.
good.
Do you really?
Yeah,
Oh, man, they're awesome.
Little hobby I picked up last couple months.
It's funny. I bought a jar of pickled okra at the grocery store last week, and it's one of my favorite little snacks.
I love pickled okra.
But I'm the only one in my house that'll eat it, so I'm never
Same.
worried about it just disappearing. Have you had the pickled green beans?
I have not.
Pickled green beans?
Pickled green beans.
Yeah, you can pickle anything.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Pickled pig's feet,
I had never gone to that yet.
whale's eggs.
Next,
A lot of this stuff, sadly, a lot of this stuff you can pick up at Buc-ee's.
Yeah. When a restroom break cost you $300.
Yeah. Am I the only individual that can walk into Buc-ee's and go to the restroom and leave? About the only thing I ever really buy there ever is a cup of coffee, maybe a brisket sandwich or taco. Maybe. I'm not the guy buying the T-shirts and the other stuff.
Once you got the T-shirt, you've got it.
Yeah. Arch has now become a big donor for the university over here. So we've got I heard the Auburn fans are going, oh, we're the only SEC school with a Buc-ee's. Yeah, except we're getting one on campus. So, and my understanding is that, at least my hope is that we end up with Beaver Nuggets being sold at Kyle Field. And I would like for him to also sponsor the bathrooms if that's a possibility.
Oh, gosh. Oh.
So, but no, the heat is for those of you guys, and I don't mean just the South, the North. Y'all are experiencing heat too that y'all are just unfamiliar with. I was on a message with Ian Aiello, who's up in Canada. He's on that. He's crossed that other border, right? So for us, it's the Red River and then the northern border. And actually, I think we like the people on the other side of the northern border better than we do the one across the Red River. Is that right?
I mean, like I said, I'm here holding the line. Whenever Trump was saying build the wall, I was hoping for a little bit of a kickback over here.
So no, I was talking to him, and they're experiencing heat. Obviously not to the extent of what we're dealing with. I don't know how much humidity y'all have up there in Wichita Falls, but we get hit both ends. Yeah, so it's one of those where you walk outside and if you've never experienced what it feels like to sit in a hot tub in the middle of the summer, if you come to the Gulf Coast right now, you just have to walk outside your door and you can experience that. It's pretty quick.
Oh, yeah. But like one of the things we've been doing here is like our setting crew, they've been leaving out at like 5:30, 6 in the morning and getting out, trying to get things done before the real heat hits. And then whenever they come back in, they're done for the day. They go home.
Yeah, no, that's the same for us. I've told the guys, like, your hours are your hours. When you use them is when you use them. If you want to get here at 4 and start, I'm fine with it. Get here at 6, work and get done before the heat picks up. It's not worth being stuck out there. I've told them when they go to do an install and it is hotter, just leave the truck running. Especially as a diesel, you don't want to turn that thing on and off anyway. But just leave the truck running, crank that AC up on full blast, and then when you start to heat up. In fact, the other day, because James is working for us this summer.
Okay.
And so he's younger, not necessarily fully paying attention to the heat. I've told James, you need to set a timer for 30 minutes. Be out there working for 30 minutes. You go sit in the truck for 5 to 10 so you cool down.
Yep.
And then do it again. It is not worth them being down. I had to tell the guys too. I said, look, while yes, I want to get stuff done. And it's important for us to get stuff done because that's what pays the bills. I can't get that stuff done if everybody's out because of heat exhaustion.
And we've had to tell families, that, our schedule's changed up a little bit, especially with the intense heat that we're seeing. And some of them, of course, they're understanding to it that like, oh yeah, it definitely is hot. And then some of them are like, well, what? I don't see why you still can't get it done. And
I won't do well with something rude about that kind of thing. I mean, if they're going to be, most people tend to be understanding, but you're always going to run into that one who's going to be like, well, I don't understand why you can't get it done. And you go, well, I'm happy to give you all your money back, because it's not worth the risk of my guys getting hurt or sick or, man, a heat stroke would be the worst, right? I mean, you
that's something that you never fully recover from.
Yeah, you don't recover from it. You recover some, but not to the full extent of what you were, and then you're always much more susceptible to it after that. It's just not worth it. Finding out the other way.
Oh yeah.
So we've got fans everywhere, and in fact, I bought a big a couple of years ago. I bought a big 4-foot fan.
Oh, I thought you was talking about the podcast. We had fans everywhere. I perked up for a moment. I was like, we do.
We do. We've got like one in College Station and one in Wichita Falls.
I mean, we have some dedicated listeners throughout the country. I mean,
I bought a couple of fans or whatever, and actually I went to the garden section at Lowe's and bought the Mister hose. You know what I'm talking about? And so I zip tied it to the fan, and what I do is you run your water hose up to it and plug it in, and then let that fan blow that mist. It cools. It drops the temperature a solid 25 degrees.
Yeah, it's
great.
We've got a couple of large portacools in the back shop or in the back of the shop, and everybody that always sees them like, oh my gosh, that's a big fan. I said, yeah, that's my biggest fan.
I think that those are great. I've almost bought one. I just don't have a place to store it, and that's my big hold up on those. I'm afraid, much like our OSHA talk. This may have been the 8.0 episode, but we're talking about the OSHA thing, and I'm a little afraid that I have to store that, much like I have to store my fiberglass ladder. Not because I'm worried about it denigrating, but because I'm worried about it sprouting legs and walking off.
Right.
For those of y'all who did not catch that, the convention at Southern, we had a discussion with Craig Hall, who's Maria Schlitzberger Hall's husband, is in an OSHA talk. Did a great job, and one of the things he talked about was things that you can find on. And he talked about where you store your ladder. And he asked everybody, "Do you store your ladder inside?" And everyone goes, "Yeah."
And he was happy. He was like, "All right, good. Y'all are all storing it inside."
Yeah.
And
he talked about it breaking down, and I go, "Oh, I don't store it inside for that. I store it inside because it's going to walk off." I didn't know that was a thing. So no, it's I'm worried about those fans. Just sprout, especially right now. You're going to have somebody's going to drive by in the middle of the day while you're using it and take it.
Yeah, all of a sudden, it just starts getting a little warmer.
So, take care of your folks. Get them in and out. Tell them don't be afraid to, while it's this hot, step inside, cool down, drink some water, drink some Gatorade or Prime or whatever your drink of choice is at this point in time. That's if you're a Coke fan, I guess it would be Powerade. Or none of these people have sponsored us, so I don't really care. We'll list them all. Drink one, I don't care. Does Hill Country Fair have a version, or can we get one that's from HEB? I'm not sure.
We don't have HEB up here.
Why not? You're missing out.
We got United.
What? United.
It's owned by Albertsons.
Funny enough, that's all based out of Boise.
Really?
I don't understand this foreign language you're speaking. We've got HEB.
You got the old Howard E.
That's
Butts.
Texas, the store. It's look. You know the 3 stages of Texas government, right? It's HEB, Bucky's, Bluebell.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Nothing else is more. You throw a Whataburger in there, but they're owned by somebody in Chicago now. So.
Boo.
Yeah, it's like Schlitterbahn. They're owned by somebody in Chicago. Basically, Illinois is trying to buy Texas. It's not going to work out well for them.
No.
So no, yeah, I think I really for everybody, try and keep your staff cool. And get them in and out of the heat as much as possible.
I'd say, especially for like new guys, that
just
may
aren't used to it.
They wouldn't be experienced in working in heat before. A lot of it's counterintuitive. Wearing long sleeves when it's hot to protect you from the sun, stuff like that. Wearing a scarf when it's hot to protect your neck from the sun, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's kind of counterintuitive sometimes to folks. They want to wear tank tops and shorts, and that's not going to be the best way to handle direct sunlight heat like that.
Well, it also doesn't help the fact that we work next to a bunch of heat sinks.
Oh yeah,
the temperature of that stone that you're handling.
Mm-hmm. Well, and just concrete. If you're working out on a concrete pad,
mm-hmm.
Get out in the grass, work out on the grass, that kind of stuff. The long sleeve shirts is, those athletic wear long sleeve shirts are huge. My guys wear them religiously. In fact,
Mm-hmm.
I got to buy more here come up soon so that they've got new ones. Those things are important. Show up with some drinks every once in a while, and treat them a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones dealing with all that stuff. So
absolutely,
it's worth it. So no, that's I know that one is fairly quick, but it's important. I think it's super important for everybody to be aware of what's going on with the temperatures and things like that, and understand how it can actually impact you.
Mm-hmm.
Be a quick killer. I mean, to give you an example of how important that is. Unfortunately, I've got one of the drawings I've got to do today is for an individual that I know, and it's he was the parks director of the city here for a number of years, and he had his funeral service was Monday, but he was out mowing his lawn and died of heat stroke. So the family had told me he had they checked on him at one point, and they were just having a conversation with him. Mom comes home and says, "Has anybody checked on Dad?" And unfortunately, the granddaughter went out and said, "Papa's playing a trick." And Mom goes out. Nope, Papa's not playing a trick.
Oof.
So and that was within 5-10 minutes of time. Everybody had seen him mowing a lawn. He was, this is the parks director. He's familiar with the heat and things that are going on, and it'll sneak up and get you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not worth it. Do everything you can to. And in fact, when that happened, I brought that up with my guys. I said, "Guys, hey, I know I'm hitting hard on this, and I've been talking about it till I'm blue in the face, but I can't afford to lose any of y'all. This is not just on a work basis, because I need you to work, but on a my shop, we all kind of consider each other family. I can't afford to lose them on that basis.
Right.
So, not worth it. Take care of you guys.
Definitely so.
But other than that, I think we kind of wanted to talk about some of the other stuff that's going on, where we wanted to talk about where we're going. Is that about right?
Yep. We, contrary to popular belief, we do have plans.
Well, I mean, we don't really plan anything, but we do plan things. I mean, it is if that's clear.
I mean, if we plan it 5 minutes out, it's still a plan.
Well, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it's planned when we go, hey, I think there's another episode coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, look,
Yeah, it usually starts with the text. Hey, you want to record today? Sure. What do you want to talk about?
I don't know.
I don't know.
How about something?
Right.
No, so we kind of wanted to talk about where we're going and what the plans are, what the future is. You and I both have gotten messages from people all over the country, and, telling us how they're listening, letting us know that they've been, paying attention to what we're talking about, I guess, and not that changing the world or anything.
Right.
Or that we actually, it's probably just purely entertainment to laugh at us, for that matter.
And we do appreciate the feedback.
Yeah, and the laughter. I mean, for that matter, if you're laughing with us or laughing at us, it's all laughter. I don't really care.
Oh yeah, but no, we still encourage people to, reach out. Even if there's just something you have a question about, or even if you have a topic that you want us to bring up, we're all ears. No,
but we've gotten some great feedback. Most of the time, it's I'm getting messages on the audio, which we're fixing. I bought a boom for my mic this morning, actually, so my mic will actually be able to reach around, and I'll be able to lean back in my chair. Because here's part of the problem for those of y'all who don't realize. Right now, I'm basically eating the microphone. However,
making sweet love to it.
Exactly. However, right now I'm still talking at the same volume, and I don't even know if you can hear me.
It's
not even
dimmed down.
I'm not even fully leaning back in my chair. I just sit back. But this is me leaning back in my chair so that is leaning back in my chair with a raised volume, and I don't know if it was picking up at all.
It picked up pretty decent whenever you leaned way back.
Well, it doesn't seem to record very well. But either way, we've got some topics that some of y'all have submitted to us that y'all want us to talk about, and things that are important to y'all, and they just kind of want to hear about. And keep in mind, as we move forward, we're going to research some of this stuff. We're going to throw out a lot of opinion too, and
we will always pretend to be the experts.
Oh yeah,
yes,
yeah. If you're not pretending, then what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
No, we want to talk about these things.
What would you say the main goal is to what we are doing? Like, what is our mission?
I would say bring awareness and spark a discussion.
Mm-hmm.
I am not blind or have some kind of blind is wrong. I don't have some kind of premonition like we're going to change the world with this, or that because Austin got up and said something that the world is changing, or because Tony said, "Hey, this is how it should be." That's how it actually should be. Just more to spark that conversation. There's going to be other people who have other ideas, and those ideas may be better, but you can't even spark those conversations if people don't know that there's either an issue, or two, people have complaints about it, or even if it's not an issue that it's being complained about, maybe it's something that people are interested in learning, right?
And even
inevitably, we always kind of go, "Oh, they've got to talk about the issues or the things that are important." We've got to talk about the things that are causing headaches.
Mm-hmm. And if you disagree with us, like, we'd be glad to have you on.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's part of, like what you said, is part of one of our main goals is to spark this discussion. And
that's kind of what we're hoping for in the future. Is we've talked some about having other people on that, even to the extent of people that are super unpopular with monument guys around the country. Because I can't know what the other side is thinking, or, am I way wrong unless I've heard from the other side? I just don't know.
Yeah, because if you're just having that argument in your head with yourself, assuming what the other side's thinking, there's never going to be any middle ground. There's never going to be any understanding.
Well, and so, like, a good example, the president and CEO of SCI, he's actually got a ranch not far from here, and but I wouldn't mind meeting with him because I don't know the guy, but I can only. Everybody goes, "Oh, SCI is horrible." SCI. Well, okay. Well, wait a minute. there's another business that's trying to make money, and while we see them as stepping on our toes, are they stepping on their toes? Or are they providing a business for clientele in areas in which are underserved, or they deem as underserved,
Right.
or they're trying to make a buck?
They're just running on a completely different model than what we're running on. And
correct. And then the other aspect of that too is they've got, I don't even know, I'm going to say tens of thousands of employees.
Oh yeah.
Fair? Okay, so they've got tens of thousands of employees. No, they're not all going to be good.
Right.
Are they all going to be bad? No.
No, there's some good ones here and there, and
well,
I've had experiences.
Is the
with
majority
good
of them bad? No. I don't think the majority of people are bad.
Right.
But am I going to agree with them all? No, I'm not going to agree with all of them 100% at all. I don't agree with my wife 100% of the time. That's just kind of what it is. But if I agreed with somebody 100% of the time, I would be concerned about that individual and why they agree with me 100% of the time. That's actually more disconcerting than somebody who disagrees.
Right.
So,
yeah, and the possibility of having conversations with people such as, like you said, the president or VP of SCI, whoever it is you said was in your area.
Yeah.
Will anything come of it? More than likely not. But what we should be doing, especially us as retailers, is that we should always be, looking for ways to bridge gaps in certain places, because whether we like SCI or not, we still have to work with them. A lot of us do.
Well, right. And so in areas like, you've got an SCI cemetery across the street, is that correct? So for somebody like you, where they're going to sell monuments and you're going to sell monuments, that's going to be a little difficult. But for me, I don't have an SCI cemetery around me. And more often than not, there are more people more like me, because there's more land mass where there are not SCI cemeteries than there are land masses where there are SCI cemeteries, right? So in areas like, for me, where we have SCI, Dignity Funeral Homes around us, is it possible to go down an avenue where we can convince them to, work with a local monument company to provide that for those families? And that's not okay. So then, we also know that there are monument companies, like myself included, who sell to funeral homes. We've got a few in our area. I don't try to extend to too many. We don't overlap. So I'll sell to one funeral home, but I won't sell to another one that's in that same area. We just try to be exclusive with them. But that's just our model.
Same here.
And trying to do that. So that actually sparks another question, which is, what would it take, or is it a bad idea? Is it a good idea? I don't know. But as we continue to talk about furthering education and these associations and conventions, and what do we got to do to improve to get more people to show up, is it a bad idea to have a joint convention between funeral homes and cemeteries and monument guys?
Because the conventions that they already have, I think it's the ICCFA is one of their big ones. All those other people are already there. The grave diggers are there. The funeral homes are there. The mortuary services are there. We are the only people that are not there.
That's it.
Now,
there's some on us. Is it because we've been the guys that have said, no, we don't want to deal with them because they're da 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 da, or is it because they're going, we don't want to include those Neanderthals who break rocks for a living? I don't know.
Right.
And it could be that there was a split. Look, there could have been a split and angst amongst each other from years ago, and we're still harboring those old headaches. I don't know.
Yeah, and as somebody who's pretty new, if that was the case, there's no way I would know that. I've never even thought about doing this until I started working here. So, all this being fresh and new, there's bound to be some history, but there's no reason why we can't get started making new history.
Right. I agree. And all of this, the ultimate goal is that, especially, with association with, funeral homes and, even, the large corporate jobs, all of this, we should be trying to, pull whatever resources we can to try to reach out and work with other people, because at the end of the day, our main goal is making sure that we're providing the best level of service to our families as possible. And
Exactly.
being able to have, parity with these people to, try to speak on the same level that they do, that could open up more doors for us.
Well, right. I mean, and especially like one of the things that we've noticed for us is the number of people who are coming in the week of the service or before the service or whatnot has drastically increased. And I'm sure there's an ebb and flow to this, but we've not really noticed this to this extent before, to the point where it's, I don't know. I think we've counted up to 10 in the last month, whereas before we'd have once a quarter, kind of thing. And so and we try to analyze why. And so the only solution I can really come up with is thinking the funeral homes and cemeteries may be backing out of selling monuments, or at least the funeral homes are anyway. Cemeteries, we don't really have perpetual care cemeteries around here that sell monuments. So, but at least the funeral homes are backing out of selling monuments, and maybe it's because the turnaround times the lead times are so long, and it's harder for them to explain that to a customer whenever they turn around a casket extremely quick.
Yep.
So, whereas we're considered a craft and we are handcrafting things, and it becomes a little bit on a different animal. So I don't know. I think that's a good. I would like to see at least that discussion started. Can we have those conventions with each other? And I mean, it makes sense if everybody else is already there. Why aren't we there? And our vendors are there.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. Some of the large, granite and bronze suppliers, they set up some very impressive displays at those.
Well, right. And so we can sit here and yell at our vendors for showing up there. And I know that the argument's been made in the past where, well, they're showing up bigger over there than they are over here. And I've been a part of that argument too. And I've been on the side of, they should spend, comparable, or they should be, giving as much attention. But if I'm going to make that argument, maybe I should also be open to the idea of going that other direction.
Definitely so.
Can we, if we're seeing fewer people show up to our conventions than, or less interest, maybe that's a way to make things more beneficial for the vendors. Is us all showing up. They've only got one trip. It can hurt. It cannot. I don't know. And that's I would love to hear from others to see what they think and whatnot. I think that's an avenue worth going down.
Definitely so. And, it's, we're going to have to find a balance with it, because if all of a sudden our vendors start seeing, all of us showing up to these, larger conventions, like with the funeral homes and cemeteries, is it going to start taking away from, our national organization, our regional organizations, or is it going to help them?
Well, right. Okay. And then, so this, right? What is our purpose? And I mean, like, what is the meaning of life and all this?
42.
It sounds like something from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy or something like that. But what is the purpose of what we're doing as an industry? And it's all. Is it to make money? Is it to? I mean, because you can make more money in other industries. Is it to have a business where we can show up in a T-shirt? I don't know. Or is it to help a family cope through grieving in a time of hurt and pain, and find closure?
Oh yeah.
And if that's the goal, if the end goal is to help a family as best as we possibly can, find that closure, and not satisfy. That's the wrong word, because we're not gonna end the pain.
No.
But we can help with some comfort to the pain, right? So if that is the goal, and that's what we're after, then these conversations need to be had, because that's the purpose, is to improve that. Yes, you have to. You as things get more expensive, you have to make more money to pay more things, and as I don't know what peanuts you're paying, Wes, in, but at some point in time, he's going to want to go from, he's going to want you to actually write him a check, and see, now he's getting excited because we're talking about him getting paid now. So,
oh yeah,
but it's a part of it. We've got to be able to make more money at times, but we've also got to we can't be focused on making more money without taking care of customers. And that means when we're taking care of customers, we're taking care of them the best we possibly can. And that's providing the monuments, doing what we said we're going to do in the first place, which is if a customer walks in the door and says, hey, I need a monument for mom and dad, we provide that monument for mom and dad. We talk to them throughout the process. And yes, you're going to deal with some people that are morons, that just have no couth when they come in and how they treat you. But you're also going to deal with a lot of families who they're giving you everything they have. My sole responsibility is to make sure that family has exactly what they've asked for in as best a timely fashion as I can give them. But in the end, they end up with the monument they paid for.
Right. And, just to highlight on the importance of, associations, conventions, things like that, that's investing in yourself. And of course, I've started bringing my guys along to those because that's me investing in those guys so that they can provide the best level of service that they can to these families, because there is a stark difference between providing a headstone to somebody and providing a memorial to somebody. Yeah. And it's through things like that we're able to, get these new ideas, find out different processes, and to, whenever, like you said, whenever that family comes in and they're giving you everything they've got, which they're giving you their trust. And if they're putting their trust in you to provide something that is so sentimental and so important to them, you owe them your best.
Absolutely. In many cases, that's they're providing you with whatever little money they have left over. I've had families go sell cars to make sure they could pay for a monument.
Oh yeah.
And you go, if that's what they're doing, then they deserve my focus, right? And it doesn't mean you can't go do stuff. You can't, have fun with the money you've earned and made and whatnot, and go buy a car, go on a trip, go, I don't know, whatever you're into, switch from Bud Light to Pabst Blue Ribbon. I don't know, whatever your thing is. but you need to provide for that family your best effort. And sometimes there are times where I've got to grit my teeth and man up and pull my bootstraps up and deal with it and still provide that family my best when they don't necessarily deserve my best in how they're talking to us. Now, I've asked people to leave and given them their money back because of how they've treated us.
Right.
But that's very few and far between. In most cases, we get them to understand. But my goal is to take care of them as best as I possibly can.
Yeah, and at the very least, this is already a pretty painful process that they have to go through.
Oh, yeah.
And if we can just provide a service that's just that much less painful, of doing what we say we're going to do, get them exactly what they need, what they ask for, and what they pay for, it's just one less point of pain that they have. So, maybe I might be thinking too high of ourselves, but, I like to think that every now and again they'll think about it for next time and think, well, these guys made it just a little bit less painful to get this done. It was relatively easy. They got us exactly what we wanted. It looked great. And, down the road, when one of their family or their friends, getting that referral, like, hey, I went to these guys, they did a great job. It was a painless process. They got us what we wanted. That's going to be important down the road, because we have several families that are like, well, my cousin bought from you guys back in 18, 19 for their headstone. And so you guys came highly recommended. That's kind of a point of pride for me of, making sure that we can be recommended.
Well, I mean, I tell you exactly. I love that sentiment, and it goes back even still to the conversation about those customers we do this for, right? Miss Rivers came in yesterday to tell me about her vacation, the woes and the good parts and the bad parts. She's told us about the Kid Rock concert she went to, and she's been to 18 different. into 18 Kid Rock concerts. And she's like, "Oh, you got to go with me." I'm not a Kid Rock fan, and not just not my taste of music or whatever. And I like rock bands, but I don't care for Kid Rock as much. Anyways, so it's stuff like that. We had another family come in and said, had this great conversation about stuff, and she said, "I love coming in here, having conversations with you. You're welcome anytime. It doesn't have to be because you bought a monument.
Exactly.
Come on in.
Yeah,
I'll pour you a cup of coffee. We can have conversations."
And us being in a small community, we run into our customers all the time.
Oh yeah,
all the
my
time.
problem is whenever I don't recognize them at the grocery store. Right?
Oh yeah, no, it's almost painful.
I have actually gotten to where I'll wear a ball cap and put in my AirPods to my ears, and I'll play music or whatever while I'm grocery shopping, just because it's not hey, leave me the heck alone. It's more of if I don't want to run into that situation where I don't recognize you and I can't place you, because it could be I know you from church and I see you out of place and I don't know who you are. So it's pretty rough.
Because some people that can be insulting.
Yeah, and so it's just easier just to try to avoid it. But no, I think some of the topics we're hoping to go through, man, these are maybe spark some conversation. Maybe
it'll spark some conversation. It will potentially ruffle some feathers.
I mean, do we care?
No. Like we
in
said a few
end,
episodes back, this is our soapbox.
In my soapbox, yeah. Who cares? And truthfully, the matter is we actually said in the episode that has now since been deleted, the episode in which we don't speak of, that the purpose of this is not to gain friends amongst the industry. I mean, and it's not really to piss people off either. No. But my friends are going to be my friends, and I care more about the community I serve and the people that are here in my area that I'm trying to take care of than I care, and not that I don't care about the people in the industry. I do. Yeah.
It's just an added bonus.
Right. We wouldn't be doing the podcast if we didn't care about the other people in the industry.
Correct.
Right? I wouldn't have started the Monument Builders Facebook page, years ago had I not cared about people in the industry. These are things I care about, the people that do the same thing and work with us, and I want to make things better. That's the number one desire. But unfortunately, sometimes that means we got to step on toes, and there are times people step on my toes on purpose, and that's fine.
Because there are things that we do need to talk about, that these conversations need to be had, especially things that are potentially threatening our industry.
Copyright
issues, the online sales, the fact that you can buy a headstone on Amazon now. Yeah. And
that was a big topic. That was a big topic this past week on Monument Builders Group. And I kind of posed one conversation, and it was more of because I thought the conversation was funny. I wasn't venting, but we had a guy call who was kind of how do I politely put this? A rectum clown. Who when he called last year, and he came in and wasted a bunch of our time in designing and whatnot, and then he's trying to price shop out the design and stuff like that, and we got what we needed out of it, but he's running around and trying to get the lowest ball price, and when he doesn't get it where he thinks he should pay for it, he has bought the monument. Nobody hears from him for a year. He now is calling all the shops around here in the Brazos Valley, saying, "Hey, I bought a monument in Ohio. Will you install it for me?" And from the response that he gave us when we said no, it was just okay. So it sounds like he's gotten enough no's across the board, and so now you're stuck with it. Figured out, and it's not in. It's in the city cemetery, so you've got to have $3 million general liability to go in there and be a functional monument company to install the monument. So unless he's getting a DBA to go set his monument, he's in trouble.
And unfortunately, a lot of these online companies, you know, they promise these people the world. They tell them.
I'm going to say it shouldn't be. Just a couple $100 in setting fees, and they'll install it for you.
Oh yeah, they say that they work with monument companies all the time, and monument companies are more than happy to set this for you.
No, they're not.
No, exactly.
And that's where not happy to be set. The problem is actually what ends up happening is exactly what we were talking about before, where monument companies care about the families, and so they feel bad that they've been taken advantage of, and they've been sold a monument. And now that's sitting in their yard, and they don't know what to do with it because their family's lost this money, so they want to help them out. But it perpetuates the problem because that online company is still going to continue to sell them. So
and chances are that family would
the best thing I've got to do. It's like you know, my kid already has that extra piece of candy. Just let them have it. No, unfortunately, the best thing is to put a stop to it. Take the candy away.
Yeah, we don't need to turn ourselves into the setting crew for the online companies.
No,
because that's what it's going to go down to. Because even if you feel sympathy for that family, because they had been misled in that purchase, being promised that someone like us would take care of it, if you give in and you do that, they're going to do it again. They're not going to remember that you stepped in to help. Them.
And the best story that I heard out of all this, and actually I've got two. One of them is one of our competitors, a friend of ours. Received one and was going to do it, and that was the last one he ever said he would do. And the reason it was the last one is because when he received it, it was broken.
Yep.
Family blamed him, and he had to refund them all the money for what they purchased.
Ouch.
Not the installation. Because he didn't have them sign anything ahead of time, and so he bought the monument off of them, which means he lost money in just receiving it. That's it. Not his fault. He lost what they spent on the physical rock because he received it. So that's one. But then the other story is one of our friends up in the Great White North, who I don't know if this individual wants his name attached to this or not, so I'll keep it silent. But he told me once where he's out in the cemetery doing the install and installing one that was shipped to him online, and it was atrocious looking, just absolutely just not up to quality. Stuff where there's like double outline panels, but they're not frosted. On a colored stone, and it's sitting out. The depth isn't there. The carving's trash. All of that. He's installing this, and a family walks up to him and asks him, "Do you sell monuments?" And the truck's sitting there, sign on the door. Now, they should know there's signs on the door.
Here's your sign.
Yeah. But he's embarrassed because now it looks like that's the quality of product that he puts out. And you're like, no. So the guy that called us before, we told him, no, we only do our own work because I'm not going to do it. We don't want to fool it. Now, the truth of the matter is, Austin, if you call me and you've got a stone that's got to come down here, then you and I'll have a discussion, but it's going to be between you and me.
And we have had that discussion before.
Correct. I've done it for Matt Worthington. I've done it for a few people, and because we live in because I live in a big university town, we have people that have moved here from other areas, and so we end up shipping monuments across the country.
Oh, I've even become a long haul trucker for you.
Yeah, yeah. And we've got monuments that have to go to that come here because people will move out to other areas, but they want to be buried in the family plot back here.
Correct.
And so, we will settle, but I will only deal with people that are reputable. I will only deal with people that I know what I'm doing with, and it's only directly through them. I will not deal with the family when it comes to that installation, because that level of liability is still going to fall on whoever it was before.
Mm-hmm.
And we had some guy try to wind his way around, and that was a Perry Giles conversation once with where this guy was trying to shop me against Perry Giles, and didn't realize how well we communicate with each other. So, he's like, "Whoa!" Yeah. He said that if I bought it from him, you could install it, and I said, "Well, that's the case, but that's not what he said."
Right.
He said, "Well, I'll bring it down to you in the truck." I said, "Nope." I said, "That negotiation for that installation will be handled between me and him, and you will pay him for the installation. It's the only way that's going down. So it will not show up in your truck. Well, I need to be there when you install it. No, you do not. I will not tell you when I'm going to install it, if that's the case.
He will come as a thief in the night."
And it's stuff like that. I mean, these online sales stuff, and what they're doing to the industry and how it directly affects us is a problem.
Oh, and it even goes even further than that. That it's just not the online companies that are selling direct to the consumer. There are some wholesalers, which we don't have to name them. We're not going to get into that.
No, and I don't think that's necessarily fair either,
right?
Because
exactly.
We don't know the stories, but we do know that we don't know all the stories. But I've had this caveat to this, right? When it's a supplier, some of this is the Chinese, and that's a whole big bag of worms, right? That where they're selling direct from China to. I've got one right now where they won a bid on a project that we were working on, and it's in our backyard. So my tax dollars are going to fund this particular project that's going straight to the Chinese, and was not too pleased with it. There's only so much I can do with that, and that's going to take more of a legal or a discussion with the city council and governance here.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and that's having the conversation, because the reason, like in your case, because you and I've spoken about it, the reason that Chinese supplier was able to sneak in and do that is because they lowballed. I mean,
not only did they lowball, but they did not follow the specs.
They didn't follow the specs.
They're not doing a foundation, and it's not really including the installation.
Hey,
included all of that and a warranty.
Is Zoe Chan still messaging you?
No.
Because whenever you did call that out online, she messaged you, and I just liked the post. And then she sends me a message on Facebook and says, "Dear Austin, do you import from China? Are you interested in design?"
Well, hey, here's another one, right? While we're going down that avenue, there happens to be another Chinese company that, and they actually, this one does good work, but they deal, I don't think, from what I can tell, this one doesn't deal with the public, but they deal more with container sales to U.S. companies, right? Meaning you're not buying through a third-party American-based supplier, right? And you go pick it up in, we'll just say Elberton or Barry, right? So that we avoid naming names or anything.
Right.
So they will ship the container directly to the port, and then you, as the retailer, go and pick up your, everything that's in that container. So there's a company that does that I've seen. What's funny about this one, and you saw this text because I sent it to both you and Jonathan. They flat out called out a company on their page for non-payment. So,
oh yeah,
this company does not. They were talking about a retailer who is really stepped on a lot of toes, and they called them out for not paying their bills. And I can only imagine how much they had not been paying, and that's becoming a problem too. Where this is happening, you got to pay the man. That's tough. So that becomes public information that the public now knows about that. But
and unfortunately, some of that trickles down to us, especially if you're in that area. And if there is a monument company, and just pick any area that they are burning their customers, they are accepting money, not providing the service, that gives us all a bad look.
You mean like Kansas? Is it very specific? I only know this because the story keeps coming out. And
the Pacific is what's on the left coast, right?
Yeah. Sure. But no, it's because that story keeps getting posted about that. And so you read it and you go, man, that's a dumpster fire.
Bad.
But no, I mean, it does. It falls back on all of us. And so in the same instance where we go back to the discussion about suppliers, U.S. based suppliers that are going direct. I have the same issue in the end. The overall outcome with other company retailers that aren't paying their bills and whatnot. What ends up happening is that you cause the community to lose trust in you, right? So if it's a supplier that goes direct to the community, let's say it's a mausoleum, because that seems to be more common, or a columbarium, something like that, right?
Yeah.
Now the community, when whoever purchased it, goes and says, well, where'd you get that, to the individual who's the end user? Mm-hmm. Oh, well, I bought it direct from such and such company because they had a better understanding of what was going on. Uh-huh. Well, that tells the rest of the community that they can't trust the local retailer.
Yep.
Right. So the major company makes 30% more, maybe, than what they were going to make before, maybe double it. Mm-hmm. But if they're a huge company, they don't see that in the end on their spreadsheet. Mm-hmm. However, a mausoleum sale to a small monument shop is life changing for that business. That gives them the ability to fix equipment, improve safety for their guys, all that kind of stuff, and it changes the way the community looks at them when it comes to business. Mm-hmm. And so you've outsourced that around them, and now you've just hurt that business. Whereas if you were to go directly to that retail, say, look, we don't sell direct to the public, and I know a bunch of shops that do this, a bunch of wholesalers that do this. So we don't sell direct to the public, but there is a really good monument guy that's in that area. Maybe they're not a customer of yours, but there's a really good monument guy in that area. Mm-hmm. Let me get in touch with them and see if they're comfortable doing this, and not get back with you, or I'll give them your number. Are you okay with that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the bronze suppliers had reached out to me. This is a few months back. Somebody had contacted them directly looking for a bronze memorial, and they kicked everything down to us. Mm-hmm. And was like, go through these guys.
Oh, I'll name them. That was Trigard that did that.
You know what? It's funny you say that, because Trigard asked me that asked yesterday. Hey, we sent a couple jobs your direction. Did you get them? And Janine had asked me about it, and I said, we haven't gotten those yet, or they haven't contacted us yet, but we have a rule in our office. If an order or a customer comes through a vendor that sent them to us, that order goes to that vendor, hands down. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so we will, when those orders do come through, they will be going through Trigard. Mm-hmm. And we look, I'm not afraid to say it. We use Trigard. We do use Gemini. We use Cold Spring.
Same here.
Just in different capacities. But no, those orders will go through Trigard 100%. I've had orders that Sandra over at Cold Spring have sent me, and those have gone through with Cold Spring. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm going to do. And so what that does is it solidifies as a business that's going to use you for the long term. Yep. So instead of making a few bucks on this one order, now you've got a long-term customer who's changing the way your business runs. Mm-hmm. And that makes so much more sense. And the same is, though, when you talk about those retailers that are having those issues with their community, meaning not taking care of their community, it also puts a bad taste on the other retailers, meaning that what you've got is the community doesn't trust all retailers across the board, causing them to go more to the funeral homes because that was the last people they trusted. Mm-hmm. And so those are where those issues come in, and we've got to find a way to build those trust and fix those things.
Oh yeah. And just like the columbarium that you were talking about that ended up in your area, I've got one up here, which was a massive one. I mean, bare minimum, that's a $300,000 project. I mean, It was a huge setup, and it was done through a church here, a church that I work with that owns a cemetery. And I went and talked to him. I was like, hey, why didn't y'all call me about this? And they said, oh, this was all done by a member of our church, that he reached out to a supplier, and they worked with them. And I said, okay, well, what about like the down the line service? Because y'all are going to need engraving for every one of these niches.
Yep.
That's something that we could have had a discussion about.
Well, exactly. And it's the same thing with this columbarium here is, the original discussion was it was going to be a public-private partnership, and we were going to actually supply them at no charge the columbarium, and we were going to be exclusive on the engraving, and as well as every time they sold a columbarium, a niche, we were going to get paid back percent, until we were paid in full.
Mm-hmm.
And that was going to be the process, and then they put it out for bid. And this is after we've given them all the details on quality and how to produce it and what to do and all this.
Mm-hmm.
And there it goes. The money went out the door.
Mm-hmm.
And so you go, I'm just less interested in giving you information. Next time you ask me for questions, you're trying to figure out how to make this put it out for bid. Let's figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Another thing to be careful with, and Wes and I ran into this one, was there was a municipality not too far from here that they were wanting a fallen officers memorial done. Mm-hmm. And they reached out to us. We even went to their police station and sat down and met with them, got all the plans laid out. We submitted drawings to them. And this was like back and forth for 3 months. And they're like, okay, and they whittled it down into something like they had a designer draw up something else that we told them it wouldn't work for this reason. The material you're wanting to use is too thin. Yep. But we were still submitting on our drawing. So we get all the way to the end, and they go, okay, now we're going to put it out for bid. So
well, we had
several months of, the phone calls, the emails, the hours that were dedicated to the drawings for nothing.
Yep. We had a similar situation where it's the city of Hutto. I don't care because I know what they're doing. City of Hutto outside of Austin.
Mm-hmm.
Let them burn. I don't care. Called us about a veterans monument.
Tell me how you really feel.
Oh man! So they wanted us to do the design on it, and I said, "Well, okay. Well, hold on. You want me to do the design, or you want me to do the monument?" Well, we need a design first so that we can get it past the committee. And I said, "Okay, but if I do the design, you're going to put it out for bid, right?" Well, yeah. Well, are you going to pay for the design? Well, we don't have any money for that. I said, "No, I don't. I'm not going to design something for you to put out to bid, to have to go bid on my own artwork against somebody, and somebody else gets it because they can lowball it because they're going to find ways to cut corners."
Yep.
No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be involved. So I said, now I'll sketch you something, and I copyrighted it, so they can now know I went ahead and wrote it so that I knew that I was protected.
Right.
So, but no, I mean, that stuff's all stuff that we want to go into. We want to talk about some of the other stuff real quick. I know we're kind of wrapping up, getting close to the end. We do want to do a deep dive into values of our associations, how we can improve it, because we know that, especially, we know more intricate detail on the SMBA side, that we want to make sure that we're making it beneficial for not only our retailers, but also our vendors. We want to make sure our vendors are getting value out of showing up. We're looking for how to, and that's why we said we got it. If you're a retailer and whether you went to the SMBA convention or not, there's a survey that's out on the Monument Builders page. If you're a wholesaler and you went or did not go, there's a survey out on the Monument Builders page. Those are anonymous.
Except for
they
mine.
are Google Forms. Yeah, they're Google Forms, so you probably have to use an email to get into it or whatever. But it does not send us who answered send us a response. And the whole purpose of this is to understand what do you want to see, what we can improve, all that kind of stuff. So
and speak frankly with it.
Absolutely, 100%. I want to
be
know.
Honest.
Yeah, say I won't go because I was standing next to Austin. He wasn't wearing deodorant that day. Whatever the case is, I don't care.
It was in the woodlands. My gosh, it was hot.
So no, we want to know because I can't improve things, across the board. And I think we're going to have a discussion for us on value. Where's that value at? Is it in just showing up, or do we need to improve education for these conventions? Do we need to improve who we're talking to? You know,
is there something being covered that we're not providing?
Right. Or is it the topic of discussions that we're using that aren't valuable? I think I tend to see that hands-on stuff tends to show people more, and people tend to go to that a lot more likely. So some of that stuff, some of the other discussions about that when it comes to value is social media killing the associations. You know, we're already meeting on the Money Builders group, but we need to get people to understand and educate them that there is an importance in showing up and being a part of these conventions.
Yes.
Right? Knowing that you have that ability to sit and talk frankly with people, that's important.
Well,
and
and of course, you know, speak honestly with this, Wes. Would, like, you've been to what, 3 conventions now?
Yep.
You've been to 2 SMBA and then 1 MBNA.
Yep.
Would you be able to do what you do at the level you do now if it wasn't for going there and meeting all these other people?
No. Like, just, I think the biggest thing I've got out of most of these is, one, just knowing that there's 100 ways to skin a cat, and just talking to people and their process, and especially on the front end side of most of these folks that we talk to are dealing with customers on a regular basis, which was something I hadn't really had, you know, too much experience in when I went to that first one over in Rockwall. You know, just talking to people and figuring out, like, how do you do it? Like, how do you do your side of it? And then they give me their rundown, and, you know, I take bits and pieces of things I think will work, give it a shot. If it works, great. If not, move on to the next one. And aside from,
I mean, what y'all do is not always going to work for me. What I do is not always going to work for y'all, but there are going to be bits and pieces of these things that are going to be huge to change how we do things.
And things like the shop day that Worthington had in Burleson.
Yeah, and actually, there's another one coming up. So
yes,
that's a part of something coming up. There's going to be a shop seminar at Bodie Anderson's place in Oklahoma.
Be the last weekend in October.
Yep, and everybody's welcome. SMBA will be kind of doing our seminar thing there, whatever, as far as a hands-on deal. But you know, come on out. It's not closed. It is really a customer appreciation deal for them. And what's great is, because of where it's at, I don't hear people go, "Oh, well, it's too far." It is literally in the center of the country. Literally in the center of the country. And if you go, because it's the last week of October, and we're getting close to the harvest time at that point in time, you might run into Blake Shelton on his farm or something like that. I don't know.
Very well could. He is from Ada.
He is from Ada, but you got to actually care for Blake Shelton, I guess. Yeah, he's all right.
Yeah.
He was better whenever he sang Old Red.
Ooh. Yeah. Yeah. Hollywood will change you.
Yeah, it will. Yeah, that old Gwen Stefani country music now.
Gross. That's like a swear word.
Yeah, I know. But that's all right. I fixed it because right now I've got a station playing on the TV that's Sturgill Simpson. If you don't know who that is, he's like a modern day Waylon Jennings. So, well, man, I mean, so there's a lot coming up. I understand that we've got a lot of topics that are coming up that we want to talk about. We want to make sure everybody understands. You can reach us on through text, email, you can send it out on the Money Builders Facebook page. If you want it to be anonymous, send a direct message to the We Rock podcast page. You can post it on the We Rock podcast page. Send a direct message to one of us. Carrier pigeon's a great way. Yeah, sure. If you've still got a what was the Enigma? If you still got an Enigma, you can send it that way. I don't know that it'll work. We do accept Bitcoin, and we will read those messages too if you want to.
Yes,
but no. Truthfully, let us know. Let us know what the topics are. This is where we want to go. So this is what the future's coming up. I think some of them are going to take a little bit more research, but we are working like the one on copyright. We're working pretty big on that one because that's been a topic as of late with some of our friends where a couple of shops have been sued over what is copyright infringement. So we're kind of looking into some of that, the legal side of that, but we're also trying to understand the process. So I currently have a handful of designs going through the copyright process for us, so that I know how to do it when we're copywriting all of our designs to help protect us, not really to keep people from using our stuff, but to protect us from running into some of the same fate. Yeah. I'm totally happy with sharing a lot of our stuff. I have no problems with it.
But
I'm not really worried about
your
it.
design catalog, Alibaba.
Yeah. That's exactly it. No, but my biggest thing on my stuff is I don't want to be able to see one of my designs while standing in front of another one of my designs. That's really kind of what it is. I designed whatever that was special for that particular family, and I just don't want to see them twice in the same cemetery.
Right.
So, and I don't want my direct competitors that are here locally using them, and not because I don't like my direct competitors, but those are my artwork. However, if it's 200 miles away from me, call me, ask, and then I'm gonna ask you to kind of change it up and make your own thing out of it. But I'll even send you the file.
Yes.
I'm not so hung up on it that
Yeah, we're not in this to go out there and try to get each other.
No, I've got enough work to deal with right now as it is. Sit there and throw a fit over a stone I'll never see is a bit much. So I'm not too terribly worried about it. But no, that's some of the things I want to talk about, how to protect yourself and some of that. Anyways, so that's kind of what's going on in the future. I know this wasn't the sexy conversation because it was mostly about the heat. We talked about the heat exhaustion, but I think moving forward, you kind of get an idea where we're going and what we're wanting to do.
Oh yeah.
So we've got better topics coming up here in the future. It's just going to take some research, but send on other things. We'll talk about. Heck, I mean, you've heard us talk about baseball. I mean, before we got online, we were talking about the pitch clock. So we can talk a whole episode about that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, whenever we recorded 8.0, the All-Star break had just finished up.
Yep. And so, and now where are you at?
Oh, still sitting in that number one spot.
Yeah, well, hold on. Mighty Mouse will come back. Get him out there and get some Jordan. Air Jordan.
Now, I am pleasantly surprised, or I'm not surprised. I'm just happy that we've, Rangers have gone up against two top tier teams and swept them. So,
well, let's see what it is. I tell you what, I will when we get to playoffs. If the Astros are no longer in it, the Rangers in it, it'll be one of the few times I've pulled for the Rangers.
Oh, I cannot wait to see you wearing that Rangers blue cap.
That's not going to happen. that won't happen.
Oh,
that's a little like wearing pumpkin. I'm not wearing that color either.
I can Photoshop.
Photoshop all you want. AI will do it too if you want. I don't care, but it ain't me.
Yeah, and last thing I'll put in there is if you guys are interested in doing the fantasy, we'll get that put up. I'll be the commissioner for this year.
I think the best way to reach you is on your OnlyFans. Is that right?
That's exactly right.
So no, yeah, reach out to us on the fantasy football thing. It's the fantasy is for football. It's not for his OnlyFans. That's a different animal.
Yeah. We'll plug that at a later date.
So, did you really do a Discord on me?
I did. I just did. I'm seeing what it's doing. I typed in Astros fan wearing a Texas Rangers hat. So
hold on. Yeah. So how we. Oh, look at that! It's not a Texas. That's a cowboy hat, man. That's actually not too far off. It's got the beard and everything.
The top left one?
Top left? Oh, he's wearing a Rangers shirt.
Yeah. Man.
But the one on the bottom right, that's a star, man. That's a Astro star right there.
Hang on, let's see here. It's almost done.
Now that first one is interesting because it kind of looks more like an Astros shirt and a Rangers hat, but everything's Astros colors.
What's with the Mickey Mouse guy?
Man, this is some interesting AI stuff here right there. There's only one of them that you could really kind of say is Texas, and it says T's. It doesn't say Texas. It says T's if you read his jersey.
Right. Well,
All right. Well, I think
Yep.
that'll be it for today.
Yep.
We'll see. It'd be interesting to track and see how far people actually make it through this one. My running bet is about 5.5 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Like you said, not the sexy one, but here we are.
No. There's going to be 10 or 15 automatic downloads, so that we'll go ahead and count those towards us.
They all count.
All right. On that note, I think I'm gonna go grab some lunch. It's burrito day, I think.
Oh,
So, all right, y'all have a good one, and we'll catch y'all on the flip side.
sounds good. Good
see you
talking
down
with
the
you,
road.
bud.